everybody. Jake, you're muted before you say anything.
Hello.
Pros. Good morning, afternoon, evening, 3 in the morning, wherever you are. We have people from all over the place already joining, which is super exciting. I am Maddy Leger. I am a program manager on the Xamarin / .NET MAUI team. And I am here with my coolest favorite coworker. Don't tell the other guys.
Nice.
Jake. Jake, do you want
to... Hi, everyone. Yeah, hi, my name's Jake Kirsch. I'm also program manager on the Xamarin team, and really looking forward to being here with everyone today.
Awesome. So you guys might be wondering if I killed David, who's usually here. I did. No, he's not dead. He's very busy working on this conference that's coming up. May or may not have something to do with the word build. May or may not have a lot of really cool .NET MAUI stuff happening.
Something like that. So
he's been real busy. And so he was like, I'm out. I know my padding is falling off the walls. Don't. So as they fall, I've been, if you are a regular tune-inner, you might notice I have some new foam acoustic panels. And so what I've been doing is as they fall, I hot glue a piece of paper onto them and then I stick them back up and they stay. But I just went around and I like pressed them all back in before this. And I was like, everybody chill out. And it didn't. So if more fall, like it's great. Yes, bubbly after my jab. So yeah, I'm part of the Pfizer fam. Shot 2 yesterday. I have taken a lot of Tylenol, acetaminophen, whatever it's called. So currently I'm feeling great. By the end of this, I might be a mess, but that's what Jake is here for because he's the reasonable one on the team.
Is that my title?
I don't know. Me and Dave, like you're pretty like steady, and then me and Dave are both like off the wall all the time. So if you have not joined a community stand-up before, the way this works is we're going to talk through some blogs. We are going to look at only one PR because there are so many PRs right now, and Dave is usually the PR pro. And I wanted to make sure that we have extra time for Jake to show us a demo and give us a lot of insight into the .NET MAUI single project experience, which is really starting to come together in the past 2 previews, and it's gonna be really good. So I'm very excited. He showed me his demo earlier, and I was like, "This is amazing!" So I'm very excited. Let me share with you all in the chat. Copy paste. Hi Pierce. Hi everybody.
Hi Pierce.
The URL list for this month. So this is the website landing page for all of the links that we're going to use today. It is a really solid tool. And then if you ever want to look at previous community stand-ups links, you can use the urllist.com/Xamarin standups, which is just a giant list of lists. And we made that after a suggestion a couple of months ago. That was really good. So sweet. And I will put this up for a few seconds so that you all can type it in if you can't find the copy paste. First and foremost, let's talk about a Microsoft blog this month. So usually, like, if you've joined this before, we try not to do too many first-party blogs because this is the community stand-up. But every once in a while, something really grabs our eye. And this one by Rachel King, who's on the Xamarin Forums / .NET MAUI team. She started last summer, Jake?
Yeah, like late last summer, I think, August.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And she is incredible. And you might be seeing her name pop up more and more in the Xamarin Forums and .NET MAUI GitHubs. And she wrote a blog this past month for mobile developers / any developers about writing more accessible apps. And this is a big focus of .NET 6 and .NET MAUI for us is really making it as easy and seamless as possible to build accessible apps using kind of the native tools and screen readers and all that stuff. So this is a great article. She talks through kind of the Microsoft Inclusive 101 design toolkit, which is really, really cool. I had not given it any attention really since I read this blog, and then I got super sucked into it. And I particularly love this table that's like, there's permanent accessibility concerns and then temporary and situational, and it's kind of on all these different matrices of things. So she also has some tools in here to make sure your apps don't look horrible. Not actually horrible, but that make sure that your apps are accessible, so basic things like contrast, font sizes, assistive technologies, accessibility standards, and then some of the stuff she's working on for .NET MAUI and Xamarin Forms. She actually gave a talk on this, so you can go and watch that, and it was really awesome. Someone in the chat said, Jose in the chat just said, I just Googled Maui and I get a lot of travel stuff. Yeah. My sister is actually in Maui right now, my younger sister. And I said, can you bring me home a sticker? And she said, why? And I was like, don't ask. But she said she's bringing me home a sticker. I have to go pick her up at the airport tomorrow. So she better.
Cool.
But yeah, if you look up .NET MAUI or you go to our GitHub repo, .NET/MAUI, you can kind of avoid all of the Maui, Hawaii stuff that way. So little tangent. But yeah, if you're someone who's kind of new to the accessibility space or just, looking to freshen up, Rachel's blog is a great place to do that. All right. Not going to go through this blog because it's really long, but Alan, if you're here, congratulations on Shiny 2.0. If you haven't used Shiny before, it is like the easiest way to do like background services and logging and all these things. This version 2.0 has almost 1,200 freaking commits. That's a lot of stuff. And Shiny is it's just something I think we see in almost all of the popular open source Xamarin Forms apps that we know about. So look at this, less boilerplate. I love a good before and after, right? There you go. Beautiful. Oh, look at all this iOS code, gross. Oh. So Alan, I don't know if you're here. Hopefully you see this on Twitter if you're not, but you know where to find us, and we're going to make sure that we get you .NET 6ified too, because Shiny 2.0 is amazing and I'm super excited about it. So check out his whole article here. Like I said, it's very long. You can see how little the scroll bar is. I'm not saying there's a bunch of content in there. Okay, Luis Matos wrote a blog a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago. Where's your dates on here? When is it? Oh, it was a couple days ago. My goodness, it's May 6th. About mobile app security. So what I really like about this is that he highlighted just like the top 10 risks. When you think about security, you're like, oh man, there's a lot and I don't know where to start. But I mean, I read through this briefly earlier and I was just like, wow, like this is a very easy to follow step-by-step thing that I can kind of go through and I can say like, oh, I don't have any cryptography needs in my app right now. So, that's a step I can skip. But then a poor code quality, that's all my apps. So I have to figure that out. But there's also, I live outside of Boston. There's a billboard outside my house that's been updated recently that says, bad code costs companies $6 a second. And it's for a company that you outsource to get rid of your tech debt.
That's awesome.
I really thought that was really funny. So I saw the poor code quality and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to go call that billboard outside my apartment. Another thing, so I don't speak Spanish, so I cannot Pierce, bad jokes cost me $6 a second. Me too. Thanks. I don't speak Spanish, so I can't actually tell you what they talked about here, but if you do speak Spanish, I would highly recommend watching this video because I love Luis. I love this group of people. Charlotte and Randy were there, and they hashed out kind of all the different mobile cross-platform frameworks. So Xamarin, React Native, Flutter, Ionic, and Native all up. And they talked about all these sections. So learning curve, reliability, and then the labor demand. So I think that's just a really nice way to look at it. That's pretty, it's not super subjective. Like there are some very legitimate wins and losses here. And I'm definitely going to try and run it through the YouTube translator thing so I can actually see what everybody said, see who ends up coming out on top. But it's a great group and definitely watch it out. Watch it, check it out, watch it, check it out. I did see a chat come up on Periscope that I accidentally highlighted for a sec, but I do want to address any roadmap for web. So currently, no. Let me pull it back up. Currently, no, unfortunately. However, that does not mean never. We're trying to focus on .NET 6 stuff. And once you see what Jake is going to show us, you will see how much stuff we have going on. And that's why web. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And so that's why web is not kind of something that we're doing right now. But once we kind of get through this first wave, this .NET 6 wave, I think we're going to start looking at more like that. Okay, Kim Philpotts, if you don't follow Kim's streams on Twitch, he's like the UI guru. It is amazing. He builds the most beautiful apps, pulls them off a dribble, just, I don't know, makes it in Xamarin Forms, and it's amazing. So what Kim did is kind of, for 2021, go through and kind of outsource from his community and his following, like the tools and resources and packages that he thinks people are the most that he thinks are the most useful right now for Xamarin development. So there's a great list here. And then a whole lot of things that he nicely laid out for us in terms of design tooling, development tooling, building and deployment tooling, other stuff. And then, kind of just a wrap up of it all. So check it all out. I learned about new things that I hadn't heard of before from this, which was very exciting. So definitely give it a scroll. Another long article here. So that's why I love having tables of contents, because I can just jump wherever I need to go. Yep, that's Kim's blog. All right, Sands of Maui is a new series by Sam. Sam's Sands series.
With seashells by the seashore.
Sorry, Sam. But yeah, it's just like a little newsletter style, really light, short kind of, here's the top stuff lately. And you can look at the Blazor WebView stuff, and it's got all the link outs that you need to learn more about that. The .NET Rocks show. Gerald, hello. He's in the chat right now on the Xamarin YouTube, which is very exciting. The WinUI community call. So Dave and I look really happy to be here. We actually were really happy to be here. This is a horrible screenshot. But that was really fun. And so it's basically their version of the community stand-up for WinUI Dave and I came into. And so in a couple months, we'll have the WinUI team kind of come and do this one. But I promise we were much happier than it appears in together mode here.
Really upset. What did they say?
I know. I don't know. Like, look at him. Oh, geez. Too zoomed in. He's like so judgy. He's like, yeah, okay. Whatever Ryan is saying, like, wow. And then I'm just kind of like, oh, I need a nap. But in reality, we had a great time. That was a very high energy call, and they were a really fun team to hang out with. So I don't know why Dave and I have such bad resting faces. And of course, oh my goodness, if you haven't watched this yet, you have to go watch Tim and Dimitri and James on the Xamarin Show talk about XAML Hot Reload. Tim was one of the original team members for the first spike of XAML Hot Reload that you might remember the private preview from 2 summers ago at the Xamarin Dev Summit. And Dimitri has kind of been the XAML PM guru for a few years now. And he came over to the Xamarin team, and Tim moved over to the XAML tooling team all up. And Tim has been spearheading the XAML Hot Reload support for .NET MAUI, as well as kind of the whole project over the past year and a half, almost 2 years now, where we've been combining our Xamarin Forms Hot Reload implementation with the one for the XAML Experience team and Windows and all that. So really cool. They all have great Twitters. That's pretty much all that matters anymore. So yeah, but check that one out. I had to show this because we have shown, I think, almost all of this series by Rundy, and it's just all about dynamic data and different selection paradigms and lists and all this stuff. So this is the next one in that series, and there's multi-selection per row in this case. So, when you think about, this is a notification settings page, right? So you think about like Facebook, and you're like, well, I don't want likes. Yeah, seriously, turn them all off. I don't want any notifications ever. But yeah, a typical Zamboy blog, great source code, all the things, and a lot of more tips and tricks about dynamic data. So you can see all of the ones down here are linked at the bottom. So January and February are the last couple. So yeah, check that out if you're kind of new to that world. And then all right, this is a cool article by Syncfusion that actually just came out this morning, so I wanted to toss it on here. We have a bunch of control vendors. Like, Telerik is one. That's where Sam is. We have Grile UI Kit and Syncfusion, and there's like a bajillion. But Syncfusion is very nice with this blog and wrapped up basically like their most popular Xamarin Forms controls that people use. And I found that this was a really good way to kind of understand what control vendors can bring to you. A lot of times we'll have customers be like, I don't know how to build any of this UI stuff. And we're like, well, just go get it from Syncfusion, go get it from Telerik, go get it. So-and-so has a great Infragistics, has a great chart control, whatever it is. And then they're like, well, why? And I'm like, what? But it can be difficult to learn kind of the scope of what they build unless you download and run the sample app. So they went through and talked about their most popular controls that they ship here. And I thought this was a really interesting way to kind of get the overview, I guess, of all these controls. Syncfusion does have a community thing. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, they just came out with like a community package. Open source project licensing, MVP licensing, and then the community license. There it is. I know what I'm doing.
That's cool.
Yep. So this is like a really cool way to just get started with it. Yeah. So check it out. And then the one pull request I want to highlight today, very exciting. You might have heard of this little thing called Microsoft MAUI graphics, because we have heard you loud and clear that you want to be able to draw your UIs so that you can make everything look exactly the same on all the platforms. Someone, Litico, who doesn't have a name and their profile picture is like a goat, so I have no idea who this is. I hope you're on this call, because GTK implementation for Microsoft MAUI graphics, which is super cool. So GTK is like one of the ways that you can write UI for Linux. Check it out. Check this out. And also feel free to start contributing and opening issues on the graphics repo. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Yeah. No dependencies on system drawing. Very exciting. So yeah, check this out. That we've been really good with READMEs. I think that's the thing I'm most proud about with the .NET repos, is that all of our READMEs are really like good. So yeah. Feel free to start contributing. And of course, the .NET MAUI repo is just .NET/MAUI. So you can contribute and start opening issues there. And that's it. So I'm going to send the URL list link one more time. So comments, paste, and then I'm going to take off my screen. And Jake, you let me know when you're ready to roll.
I'm ready. If you can hear me, I'm good.
I can hear you. You want me to put your screen up, or you want to wait?
Yeah, actually, you can start by putting my screen up, actually. That's a good starting point. Let me see if I can correctly set this screen up next to it.
Oh, wait, hang on. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do our MAUI update.
Right. That's a good idea.
So let me present this, if I can present from this slide.
Nothing to see here, just different MAUI slides.
How do I make it? Oh, jeez.
Nice.
Blame David for this. He just sent it to me. Look at this. This is all I wanted to show you. I don't care about all these words here. I mean, these words are really good and they're a lot of work, but this is a Catalyst app, a WinUI app, an iOS app, and an Android app, all built with .NET MAUI. That's a real sample we have that you can actually use with a template. This is our new template. It's got the purple. It's got the... Does Shift F5 work in the browser? I don't think it does. But yeah, it's got counts that you can click around on. It's amazing.
Yeah, the new template is really, really cool. There was a ton of work put into it the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Last couple of weeks, actually.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So the first time I saw these 4 pictures, I was like, oh, it's happening!
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely still some jank, but not with this. Not so good. And then, of course, there's, if you go through these bullet points real quick, we've got more layouts added. We've got splash screen support, which Jake will talk about, hot reload support. more handlers, WinUI 3 and Blazor Desktop to our templates. And of course, build 2021 is May 25th. Yeah, May 20th. It's on the slide. Yeah. Register for it. Dave is giving a like deep dive demo in a pre-recorded session, but Scott Hunter is doing kind of the wraparound demo for all of .NET. And Maui and .NET 6 and Maui is a huge part of that. So check it all out. There's kind of like going to be the short format one and then the long format one. So definitely, yeah. All right, Jake, now we can go back to you.
Cool. So to start, some things within this Visual Studio environment might not look super familiar. I'm actually currently running an internal build of Visual Studio. So if there's things in here that look different, that makes sense. This isn't necessarily what Visual Studio is going to look like in 3 months from now. But this is what we currently are using to test our single project changes within Visual Studio. So I guess I should probably give some background around kind of like what the goals of single project were, and how it actually started off with ideas that Pierce had, who's in the chat, I see. Hi, Pierce. And how it got to where it is today. So we've been hearing some pretty consistent feedback that there's some really simple but frustrating issues historically with developing for Xamarin. One of those things being consistency. So when you're developing for Android, iOS, Windows, and Mac, you have a ton of different rules and expectations from each platform. And a lot of the times those are things that developers don't really care about. If you're doing something really platform specific, you might, but in your general day-to-day development, you don't really care about the 6 different image sizes that Android wants, or the 3 different that iOS wants, or whatever the numbers are. And there's a ton of little asynchronies, that's not the word I'm looking for here, differences between platforms that we've been hearing some issues with. So we wanted to create a development experience that was consistent within Maui across the platforms you're working for. The second thing is simplicity. So historically, Xamarin Forms has had like 4 to 20 different projects that people would have within a solution, depending on the size of your app, what you're working with, and really what you're just trying to do. And that is necessary for some people. For people who are developing gigantic applications, they may need a ton of different projects. But for new developers, for people who are just kind of dipping their toes into Xamarin or Maui, we wanted to try and consolidate and simplify things. And then the last thing, which is always and continues to be kind of a core tenet of Xamarin and Maui development moving forward, is productivity. And when I talk about productivity, what I more mean is how fast a developer can add something to their project, how quickly things build, how simple development is from a user standpoint. All those kind of play to productivity. And so after having a ton of different conversations around this, we came into this concept called single project. And you can see a lot of single project actually within this solution. The name kind of speaks for itself. We have one single project in here. Here, this project is called Hello Maui. And single project is really a ton of little small experiences that we've consolidated into one development experience. Just to kind of start, all of this is supported through our new project file using SDK style projects. And that not only aligns us with .NET, but it actually is going to allow us to do multi-targeting, which is kind of the underlying support for all of our single project experiences. So you can see within this project, I'm currently only targeting .NET 6 Android. But in further projects, like, I don't know, maybe a build demo, we'll show things targeting multiple different frameworks. But you can see here, this is target frameworks, not target framework. And the goal is that you have one project where you can actually target across many different platforms. But it's not only the SDK or SDK style projects that were changes. We've also completely removed the need to have platform specific application heads. So historically over here, you would have your shared head, but then you'd also have an Android application head, an iOS one, a Windows one, and if we were doing multi-project within Maui, even potentially a Catalyst application head. That's all gone now. And what we've decided instead is to have platform folders. So you can see those here, Android, iOS, Mac Catalyst. In later demos, we'll be having WinUI as the fourth platform folder. But for now, we're just looking at Android, iOS, and Mac Catalyst with regards to single project. By the way, when I say for now, I mean just like within this month, we will have WinUI supported within the .NET 6 timeline with single project. And so our goal with this is to ensure that developers are still getting all of those platform-specific experiences that they need when they're developing for different platforms and different developers, actually, because you may have different developers on different platforms, but that their general day one development experience is consistent across platforms. So what do I mean when I say you still get platform-specific experiences and a shared experience? The best way to actually talk about this is by talking about resources. So one of the things that we've done within single project is take all of the images that people were creating for applications and consolidate them into one shared resource file, and specifically one image file. So you can see here within my resources kind of top folder, I have a ton of different resource subfolders. And then within those, you can actually add in different resources. So here we have, this gigantic .NET bot SVG. And that is one image that is kind of sitting within this, it's not kind of sitting, it is sitting within this shared project. But it's actually going to go to every platform that you're targeting. And that's really nice. At least when I've been developing, it's been really useful because I'm not having to go and resize a ton of different images. I can, drag in one SVG or PNG, and there's work that happens behind the scenes to spread that to all the different platforms. That being said, we do know that there are times where people want to have access to, all of the different Android resources. So we've also added a resource file within Android where you can go in and basically add the different folders that you want, add your image folders, and essentially get the same platform-specific experience that you may have been used to within, Xamarin 5, Xamarin 4, and so on. And so the big goal with this is to make sure that developers are getting an easier development experience, but that in giving you as a developer an easier development experience, you're not losing the ability to do anything. You still should be able to go and do Android-specific development if you want, while having an easier shared development experience. So images is one of the resources that we've looked at, but we've also looked at fonts, app icons. I think we're currently working on splash screens. We are also going to be doing shared assets. And all of those things will be within this shared resources top folder. And then later on, or not later on, but at the same time, you'll get access to all those platform-specific resource experiences.
Do you mind zooming in on your solution explorer there?
Yeah.
I can mostly see it, but
oh, too far. Hold on. There we go. Oh, almost there. Hello.
Oh, Windows Zoom. So Jake usually uses a Mac. So this whole Windows PC thing, I think, is really difficult for him. So props. No, I'm just kidding. He's fine.
No, you're right.
Wait, so Jake, can you explain to me how I can get those images and stuff into my actual app? How does it recognize that that's something that can be used? Also, it's an SVG. That's sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I believe we're actually going to be supporting. Oh, am I going the wrong direction now? Oh, that's right. 1 second. Oh no, what's happening here?
You're doing great. You're doing great.
There we go. Sorry. Okay. And so, yeah, actually, how you can get this within your application is, so let's say you have, this SVG image, for example. This is actually a specific build action called a MAUI image. And you can see within this SDK style project, we have a lot of different includes here. So here we have a MAUI image include that adds the image. And we have a MAUI font include, which adds the font that we want, which I'll show you all actually in a little bit what this font looks like. And then kind of as a special image, but what we're referring to as app icons, we have a MAUI image type that is an app icon, and you actually just specify with this parameter is app icon to be true. And what it does is it actually takes, like basically a front layer and a back layer and combines them together into one icon that is used as your app icon.
So wait, so you're saying like I can just have two images and then just smush them together and that's all I have to do for it?
Yeah, basically it'll take a foreground file and a background image and combine them together, and that's how you can build your app icons within Maui.
Well, that's very exciting.
Yeah,
I love that. Oh my goodness, that's so much easier than putting the icon in the right places and then putting it in the manifest. And oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're hoping that this speeds up development, because you're not doing all of these different things for different platforms. You don't necessarily, even when you're learning. Sorry, there's construction outside. Even when you're learning to develop mobile applications, there's so much that you have to learn. Things as simple as, how do I build an app icon for Android, iOS, Windows, and Mac, that we're hoping just to simplify. So the next thing that I actually wanted to point out is our startup.cs file. So this isn't something that's specific to single project, but it kind of plays within this same conversation of consistency, simplicity, and productivity. So here's how you actually get access to a ton of different parts of your application. So one thing that I want to point out here is this is actually where you can configure fonts. Before, this was a lot more code. And here we've kind of cleaned it up and put it into one location. Also for people who are using third-party packages, this is where you'll register those packages. And this is we're hoping this actually helps developers get comfortable using .NET MAUI. This startup.cs file is supposed to be pretty similar to the ASP.NET startup experience, if that looks familiar to people. And so basically, we're hoping that this is just a simpler startup experience for developers.
Yeah.
The other
thing is great. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, this is great because it's just like the forms compatibility API is like, I don't actually know what that does. I don't know where Dave is, but he'll explain it. But that's super simple. And then there's no like forms.init whatever, and then the same thing except kind of slightly different syntax in the other projects. And like Jake said, like this is where you're going to register, like use Shiny, use FF image loading, all the things. And even with the shared fonts we did in Xamarin Forms 5, you have to put it in like the assembly info, which is just some random file that has like 3 things in it. And now it's that easy. You just add font, and then it's so nice. It's so clean. Okay, sorry.
No,
Back to you.
So the last thing that I wanted to point out within this file is actually some of the platform-specific code experiences that we're going to support. So here you can see that we're using if-defs to allow developers to add kind of small snippets of code. So you may not be writing entire classes within this, but if you want to specify code that specifically runs on Android, this is how you would do that. Yeah, I know my mouse is big. It's just because I have a hard time finding my mouse sometimes, so I make the size larger, especially when I'm presenting. But we're hoping that this allows developers to have flexibility with how they're writing platform-specific code. The other kind of convention that we're planning on using is to allow developers to actually add in platform-specific code within these platform files or platform folders. And then within your actual SDK style project, we'll likely have a default item group that kind of grabs all of these .cs files within each platform and assigns them to each platform. But we're also hoping that developers will actually have the ability to be flexible with what they decide to include or not include within each platform. But essentially offering developers the opportunity to write small snippets of code within a specific file that goes to a platform, as well as entire files that they can define as a single platform or multiple platforms, depending on how you write your include statement. And that way, developers have the ability to do shared code, which they can do within the shared files, as well as platform-specific code. So yeah. Maddy, would it be good to show people kind of this new debug target framework experience?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm looking right now and I already see that you've got a bunch of iOS and Android stuff in the same list.
Yeah.
So no project selection?
No project selection, because this is single project. So our hope is that developers are, instead of selecting the project that they're targeting, they're more thinking about this kind of flipped, where they're selecting the platform they're targeting. So here we're selecting Android emulators. This is obviously going to get cleaned up in the long term, but you can already start to see what this is going to look like. And then once you select Android emulator, you can then go in and decide to the device that you want to use. We've been hearing that the way that it's working right now, where you have to right click here, select set a startup project, and then go in and do all these other configurations doesn't make a ton of sense. That mostly because developers, from what we've heard, are more generally switching across the device they're targeting rather than a target framework. They're not generally switching between .NET 4 and .NET 5 or Xamarin 4 or Xamarin 5, at least within MAUI confines. If you're developing for .NET, you probably are. But if you're developing for MAUI, you're more likely to be switching across platforms. So we have this specific Visual Studio experience for MAUI developers.
Yeah. I have to take over for 1 second because I have to show you this, because this just happened in Teams literally 10 minutes ago. So apparently Alex Blount is not paying attention to the community stand-up today and is screwing around with stuff today. This is exactly why we are doing this multi-targeting thing.
That's awesome.
This Android startup project targeting an iPhone simulator. Nope, no more of that. Nope, It's going away. It's all one nice little project and one nice little list of things, and we're still figuring out the best way to do multiple startup projects at once so that you can hot reload at the same time and everything. But yeah, your life is so much easier.
Yeah, I think that thing that Blounty just sent is so funny, because that is exactly what I hope this fixes.
Yeah.
I really hope that in the long term, this becomes basically Android, iOS, WinUI, and Mac Catalyst. And then within that, you can just actually go into the selector and choose the specific device you want to target. But yeah, so that is kind of, in a very simple explanation, what single project's gonna look like. This is all subject to change. I mean, not all of it. We're gonna keep a lot of the core features. But we do want to get feedback, and that's actually part of the reason I wanted to come on Community Standup today, is because we want to hear from developers and hear the parts of this that they really like or the parts that they hate. Both of those parts of feedback are really, really useful for us. So I guess the one other thing I should do is actually run this app and kind of point out what parts of this are single project. So let's see if I can launch this app. Come on.
Hey, nice app icon. Where'd you get it? Oh, you made it.
I built it myself using single project within .NET MAUI. Funny. Yeah, but actually, I mean, this is maybe a good time to talk about this while this builds. So this really is actually just a foreground and a background file. Background file is literally probably just purple, and the foreground is the .NET text, and it just slaps them together. You get your app icon, and it's beautiful. The one other thing I will say is this app's taking a while to build right now, but actually the forums team has been working like crazy to create new MAUI handlers, and we're expecting our apps to be really fast, really quick. And I'm really excited about the actual productivity or development experiences that we have shipping with .NET 6 and with .NET MAUI. Yeah.
Oh, Visual Studio. So if you look in the top right of Jake's VS here, you see it's main. That means he is literally on the main branch of Visual Studio.
Yeah.
So that is terrifying. But that's where all these bits are, so that we can get them to you soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're hoping this will be will be shipping out pretty soon for general developers to be testing. Right now, I feel like this crashes like every other time I run it, and that's mostly because a lot of the stuff is still really experimental on our end. But by the time it ships out, I imagine it's going to be stable and it'll be great. Yeah, Pierce says push to the main branch. Yeah, we're not doing that right now. Not yet. So
yet.
let's see. There we go. Not yet. Soon we'll be doing that. Okay.
No, Jeremy, he's using the main branch of Dev 16. So we're not using the 64-bit for this demo.
No.
But soon.
Yeah,
soon. Everything, this will be eventually Dev 16.10 when that goes GA, whenever that happens. But everything in 16.10 is getting branched straight into Dev 17. It's just that Dev 17 has a lot of things that it has to do before we can start sticking all of our fancy new stuff in it. But soon. I think the icons and stuff are different in Dev 17, so you'll be able to recognize it.
Yeah, you'll know.
Yeah.
There are definitely some new icons here, but nothing that I'm showing during this demo.
Is that a fire emoji, Jake?
It is. It looks quite fiery to me. I don't know what it could be, though.
What could that be? I guess we'll have to ask our friend Dimitri.
Yeah, or tune into Build, May 25th.
Oh.
Anyway, so this is a single project app running within Visual Studio on .NET 6 within .NET MAUI. That's a mouthful. I'm just going to refer to it as a single project application. But some things that I really wanted to point out. So we have this font here, Ion Icons. And if I actually go to this main page.xaml, you can see that we have these hearts that are defined. That's a special font. And that's actually what you're seeing right here. These 3 hearts are part of this font that's registered through single project at the single project level, not at platform level. Hopefully that's a lot easier for developers. Hi, Chris. And there's a few other things. So here you can see this image. This image is actually the .NET bot, in case you couldn't guess. And again, it's not a platform-specific image. It is an image that's in the shared resources, and it will be working across all the different platforms that we're targeting. And then the last thing, which I guess I talked about a little bit earlier, but just to point out again, is this app icon. This is a shared app icon. It's not something that you have to specify on the platform level. It's something you can specify at the shared level. Still need to figure out how I actually want to refer to those kind of things. But our hope is that a lot of these things just kind of simplify the development experience and make it easier for people to not only learn, but also to develop using .NET MAUI apps. So yeah, that is a quick 15-20 minute explanation of single project. I'm here to answer questions if people have questions about it. So yeah, well, that's not what I want. That's definitely not what I want. There we go.
I did it. It's fine. Oh, we do have a question. Will we have any differences in performance? The performance will be better. So
Definitely.
that's the difference. The difference is the good difference. Can MAUI projects read environment variables? Probably, right? I don't know. Yeah.
So that's something that we've actually been talking to the .NET Project System team on. We're using what's the term I'm looking for here? Like launch configurations to actually do some of these single project things. But yeah, you should still be able to set environment variables. If you can't, that's a problem.
Yeah. All right. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Hold on. And then we can highlight them and we can have Jake answer them while he's here.
Yeah. Also, if people have questions after, you can either email me or message me through Twitter. I don't know why all the Xamarin team loves Twitter, but happy to answer questions there.
Cool. Jake, another thing that you're focusing on, getting started experience.
Yeah.
What is the plan for learning MAUI for folks?
Yeah, so there's kind of 2 parts of getting started that I'm looking at. The first one is, the most basic, like getting your very first .NET MAUI app running. That's for developers who legitimately have never used MAUI. And with that, we're going to try and actually align more closely to the ASP.NET getting started experience. Basically focus on people just downloading .NET and probably using command line to get them to run their first Maui application. And then from there, shipping them into Visual Studio, getting them into emulators, and multi-targeted experiences. But our hope is it actually is going to be kind of a quicker getting started experience and more Maui specific. The other one is kind of for like longer development. There's been some conversations around like creating a new Microsoft Learn module. So hopefully we'll have a new Microsoft Learn module. That conversation's still very early on, but hopefully that will kind of help developers, learn .NET MAUI. You see, it looks like there was a few other questions in chat.
Hold on, let me see. Oh, there's one I can answer, which I think Gerald already beat me to answering, but I'll address it on the chat on the stream, because not everybody can see all the chats. How difficult will it be to migrate a current Xamarin Forms project to MAUI? Gerald had a great answer, which is it depends. That's the right answer. But we are working with the Try Convert tool and the .NET Upgrade Assistant team. And by team, I mean people and a half that have worked on it to make that support MAUI as much as possible. So yeah, don't worry. We're more to hear about that probably like early mid this summer. We're trying to get through the crunch for build first and then more things. Jake, how do people try out single project stuff if they want to in .NET MAUI?
Yeah, so a lot of this stuff you can actually test right now just through the command line. The Visual Studio bits, I don't believe, are out there yet. But if you download the most recent version of .NET 6, all of this is in there, actually. So all of these specific resource experiences and the new startup file and SDK style projects, all of those are there for people to test. There's actually, I wonder if I could find it. There's a great guide that David wrote that's sitting on the .NET blog. That's basically like, you want to try out MAUI within Preview 3, this is how you do it. And within that, you try out MAUI in Preview 3, and you're trying out a lot of the single project bits.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Where do I find this blog? I'll find it and I'll drop it in the chat a bit. Let's see what's the next question we got here. Oh, Jake, what file types are supported for images and fonts here in .NET MAUI?
Yeah, so images, definitely PNG, JPEG. I think we're supporting PDF. Don't quote me on that. SVG. I need to get a full list, but we're definitely adding some new file types. SVG is the one off the top of my head that I remember, and then I can actually check in a minute and see specifically what font files. I know we're supporting, obviously, TTFs, but there is one other font file.
Is it OTF?
I believe it is OTF, yes.
Okay, sweet. Oh my goodness, there's so many good questions here. Let's see what we can, let me breeze through some real quick. MAUI certifications in the pipeline, not currently, like we're really focused on the Learn module thing. But we've heard that a lot, so I would love to, explore that more. Will we be able to write native MAUI with Blazor? Good question. Yes, on desktop, that's a huge part of kind of the Blazor web view and Blazor hybrid story. Mobile bindings is going to still be an experiment. We're not 100% sure that has the value and the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry. The Tylenol is wearing off. I have my 9 minutes that I have to make it through this. I don't know what the word I'm thinking of is, but we don't think it'll bring the same value as desktop will right now. But that doesn't mean that we're never going to do it. I think, as you can probably tell from all the conversations we have, we want to do everything. It's just a matter of prioritizing it against everything else we want to do. So, yeah. Oh, this is a good question for you, Jake. Consistency of app life cycles and page life cycles. Mm-hmm. What's the deal with that?
So I believe it should be the same across all of the platforms. Is there more specific? I don't know that I have the answer to that question right now, actually.
Okay, let's see. Well, one thing that we could also talk about is things like manifests and permissions and all that in single project. I think that could be a good thing. I don't know what's going on there. I'll add your screen back if you want, and you can show kind of what's in those Android specific file folders right now.
Yeah, so one of the things that we have within this folder is this Android manifest. And we do have an iOS manifest, which is in here, which I'm not clicking right now because it actually will crash my Visual Studio. Interesting little tidbit. But one of the other experiences that we're planning on taking and moving from these kind of platform-specific levels to a shared level is the manifest experience. So I actually think it's working right now. It's not within this specific solution, but we are going to have a shared manifest where you can define app version, permissions. If there's like minimum versions that you have that you want to define, all of those things you can define kind of in a shared manifest. And that'll be kind of the default manifest. But if you go in and you write an Android manifest specifically, it'll actually overwrite what you have in your shared manifest. And it'll use your more specific platform-specific manifest, version numbers and permissions. And so we're hoping that kind of moves a lot of this duplicate information that's in all the manifests into a shared manifest, but still, allows developers to do platform-specific manifests when they need to.
Yeah. Jake, what's going on with UWP in Maui?
With UWP in Maui? So the official plan is that we're supporting WinUI 3 within the .NET MAUI timeline. I don't know if there's going to be a upgrade experience moving people from UWP to WinUI 3, but WinUI 3 is what's going to be actually part of the single project experience. We've been having weekly calls with the WinUI 3 team, but I don't know, Maddy, do you have anything to add with regards to the future of UWP in Maui?
Yeah, I think Project Reunion will make it pretty easy for the switch. But yeah, it'll be WinUI 3 will be basically what you want to use for Windows. You won't have to worry about UWP support on .NET 6, which is good. Yeah, and you'll see more WinUI specific demo stuff at Build for sure. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see.
So many questions.
This is great. I'm trying to read them to make sure that I understand them before I put them up. Oh yeah, okay. Jake, do you know what's going on with the custom renders, specific, customizing code? How do I do platform-specific stuff with Maui? What are the different ways I can do that?
Sure. So for doing platform-specific code, you can use ifdefs or platform-specific files. I do believe that we have a new custom controls experience coming through the pipeline, which I believe Blounty has worked a lot on, Alex Blount. And we're hoping that actually really simplifies the creation of custom controls within .NET 6 and .NET MAUI.
Sweet. So what are the different ways that I can do platform specifics?
Yeah, so the first one that I would point out is using ifdefs. So if you want to do a small snippet of code, you can just do an ifdef with Android, iOS, WinUI 3, or Mac. And that will let you write just small snippets of code within your file that are platform specific. But then you'll also be able to add in specific .cs files. And those will be platform specific when developers need them. And we're hoping to offer some flexibility within that by allowing developers to basically use specific item groups that allow for only certain .cs files. So if there's forever any reason where you want to add a .cs file within your shared or within kind of the top level folder, you can do that, but then go into your CS proj and actually say, I want this to go to only iOS and Android. Maybe there's files that you only want to run on mobile. So you write, a .cs and you specify it only for your mobile platforms, or maybe the opposite, you want them only for desktop and you write them only for desktop. But we're hoping that offers some level of flexibility for developers who want to write platform-specific code.
Sweet. All right, I guess my last question, where should people go on the interwebs to keep up to date with all things Maui?
Yeah, if I had to say one place, it would be the Maui GitHub repository, github.com/.net/Maui, just to plug it, as Maddy just added onto the screen. That's where all the development's happening. If you want to contribute, if you want to look at some issues, maybe pick up a PR, all of those kind of things, all that's done within the GitHub, all open source. It's great.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to have you back a little bit closer to .NET 6 GA time, which will be in November, but previews will continue to roll out. And like we've said, definitely join us for Build in a couple weeks. Lots of exciting things happening. And yeah, everybody enjoy your May. So either the beginning of summer or end of summer or beginning of winter, wherever you are in the world.
Yep.
The Animal Crossing fish have swapped out. So it's very exciting. That's pretty much all that I have anymore is Animal Crossing. So it was great to see you all. Great to hear you all. And feel free to catch us on Twitter and ask any questions. And we'll keep you up to date with all the greatest stuff in a month. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.